welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boys Mo and Lottie. And this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all of that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into this podcast today, get down there, hit like on this video. But if you're listening to us on a podcasting platform, do us a big favor and leave us a review. 5 stars, preferably, but whatever you think we deserve. And we're post Loki, post the Marvels. That thing came out. There's a lot of opinions going around on the internet. We're going to get into that, of course. And Invincible is going strong. And now we have to look forward to the holidays and Aquaman, the final superhero movie of the year. But before we get into that, let's say what's going on, Lottie? What's up, man? And what nerdy have you been up to?
I started playing No Man's Sky again. Um, Besides that, really nothing. I mean, we're watching Invincible. Finished Loki. Still suffering through post uh withdrawal from beating. I mean, 100% Spider-Man. You know, I'm just refreshing Insomniac's Twitter account until I see the DLC's ready. Buying it day one.
That's good. I speaking of Spider-Man, man, you saw I texted you about that the bundle that they're gonna have for the PlayStation 5, and I'm just like, why am I poor? Damn it! I would Spider-Man 2 is literally the reason for me to get a PlayStation, but it's not a good enough reason to go spend $500. Can't do that. Too much. That's too rich for my blood, if you will. But I've otherwise just been. I've finally watched the finale of the show Upload, which was great, but also I hate coming to the end of another season. 8 episode seasons suck. I don't like them, but I do love that show dearly. And otherwise, just I think I text you, but I've been kind of a bit on a bit of a spending spree, despite being poor, with some nerdy related Funko Pops and action figures and stuff to go onto my pile of Funko Pops. So I'm doing that thing where you just collect a lot of nerdy stuff. So either way, this is the Supercast, and we're going to talk about superhero related things. We got some good news this week. Actually, really good news. I've got a pretty good amount of stuff to talk about. Like, we're going to take a look at the trailer for Merry Little Batman. It's a Christmas related Batman animated feature, and it's surprising, let's just say, to say the least. There's a rumor about the sequel to a movie that didn't do that well, an MCU movie that didn't do that well, but that it could be in the works. One of the co-founders of DreamWorks talks about the impact of AI on animation, and I have a feeling Lottie's got strong feelings about what he had to say. The SAG strike comes to an end. What does this mean for Hollywood? What are the moves being made right now? And related to that, also, delays and all that other good stuff. Taika Waititi talks about Thor 5. James Gunn confirms a release date for Superman Legacy and also announces the writer for the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie. We're going to talk about the Marvels, how it did at the box office, what it all means, and also related, the director kind of responds to the fandom, the toxic fandom online. So lots of stuff going on, Lottie. You ready to get talking about it?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. All right. Well, Lottie, very unexpectedly, and I mean, like literally, I was just looking at the show notes and going through threads, and someone posted this trailer for an animated Batman movie, which animated Batman movie, and it's not like one of the DC Elseworlds sort of animated features we're used to. It's actually looks like it's a kids movie. kids. It's about, and it seems it's called Merry Little Batman. It seems to star Damian Wayne, and Batman as, I guess, a single parent or something like that. And it's around Christmas time, and then he goes missing. And while he's missing, the Joker and a bunch of other villains decide to steal They Grinch the Christmas of Gotham, and Damian's like, I'm gonna get my Batman suit and I'm gonna kick ass because I'm the son of Batman. I feel like that's a reasonable summation of what the movie is from the trailer. I don't know where the hell this came from. I feel bad because I'm usually up on shit like this, even if it's just a kids movie. Which that's not fair. I'm not saying it's just a kids movie, but it's a kids movie, and I wouldn't go normally be tuned into it, but it's Batman, so why the fuck don't I know about this? Either way, Lottie, you saw the trailer. What did you think about it, and what's your anticipation like for this movie you didn't know about 10 minutes ago?
I am at a loss for words, and I'm gonna just be honest with you. I'm happy it exists, but I'm not too interested in watching a movie like this. Like in a little special like this. I'm happy it exists, especially for younger people to watch, but it doesn't look like my kind of, my taste.
Right.
I still think the greatest Batman Christmas related thing of all time is the Batman animated series, when Joker broke out of prison just to give Batman a present. And when he opened it, it was a Jack in a Box, but it had a pie. And he said, "Merry Christmas, Batman." And it made Batman laugh. It actually made Batman laugh. And it was
then he dosed himself with the antidote to Smilex. But yes.
But yeah, I'm happy this exists, but it's not something.
It is such a strange little like when I got to the end of it. Halfway through, I was like, "What is this? Like really, what is this?" When I got to the end, I was like, "Okay, I guess I kind of have to see this. It's got just enough. It's got just enough of the Batman sauce." I'm like, I want to see what's up with this. It's very kid oriented, though, very clearly kid oriented, yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's got a bit. I don't want to say it's not Teen Titans Go. That's not quite it. It's a little bit more like the regular show, or Adventure Time ish in terms of like how it feels. And like, I'm sorry, Damian Wayne not as like a cold blooded like killer. I find that hard to believe. This particular DC Elseworld is like, that's not the Damian I know. That being said, it looks cute. It's Christmas related, so I have a good excuse to check it out anyway. And it's surprise, it's coming on Prime Video. So this, Lottie, you remember when we were talking about, Zaslav was shelving and getting rid of all sorts of stuff and selling everything, licensing everything off. And this was one of those things we were like, oh, is this ever going to see the light of day? I feel like we may have heard about this, but we didn't really pay attention to it because it wasn't a live action movie or whatever. But this is one of those things that DC, Warner Brothers Discovery was like, here, anybody want this? Come get it. And Amazon's picked it up. So we're going to get an original Batman related movie that is not on a Warner Brothers platform. It's going to be on Amazon Prime, which I find interesting. And like I said, I'm interested enough. I will check it out and see what's up. Right. Lottie, are you going to watch this?
No, I don't see myself.
I should require you to watch it just so we can review it.
I don't think I'll watch it. There'll be other things I'll be watching.
We'll watch it. Watch it right after Invincible goes off. I don't know. It looks cute, but we'll see. I actually probably am going to watch it. I'll review it. I'll let you guys know what's up. This is coming out. It's coming out on, I think, December 8th. So we got a few weeks, and we'll see what's up. So we'll let you guys know. Oh, I'll let you guys know what I think all about it then. Let's do something quick here. There's a rumor going around. I feel like this is a rumor we've heard for like a couple years now. But I saw on Threads, they were like, oh, there's a rumor that Richard Madden is coming back to reprise his role as Icarus in Eternals 2. And this is just, I think it was Daniel RPK or something was the source of this rumor. This is a guy that does scoops, MCU or other comic book related scoops and stuff like that. Sometimes he's right. I mean, sometimes he gets it right. So there's a decent chance that this is true. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't believe this shit. I don't. Lottie, like, am I wrong? I just don't believe it. Given what's going on with the MCU right now, why are they gonna really do Eternals 2? Like, seriously, Lottie, do you think they're gonna do? Is this a real thing?
Why? Why do Eternals 2? There's no reason for there to be an Eternals 2.
There is a reason. I got a good reason. You want to hear it?
What?
The woke agenda, damn it. The woke agenda. That's the reason why. I don't think that's not the real. That's not the reason I think. I'm just saying. It could be that they want to shove more forced diversity down our throats.
I just think Eternals was just too much of like you can't really make movies like that anymore. I'm gonna just be honest.
It's a huge it's a departure from what people expect from the MCU, and here's the fun thing about the Eternals. It got better. Like, when people actually, first of all, they missed it when it was in theaters. It's a pandemic movie. They missed it in the theaters. There's a lot of like online press about how it wasn't that good and whatever. It's Rotten Tomatoes isn't good and all that. But people actually ended up watching the shit out of it on Disney Plus. Oddly enough, it's one of those things. It's kind of like those movies that didn't do well in the box office, but they were on cable and reruns, and people suddenly watched the hell out of it. And they're like, oh, this is cool, though. So Eternals, I mean, there's the thing is, there could be an audience there. I just want to ask, though, why? Why would you do this? Like, give me a good reason why the MCU would be better off if they followed up Eternals.
The best thing you can hope for anything Eternal related is a 1 hour one-off special on Disney Plus
to explain why they should call it Kentucky Fried Icarus.
There's no reason.
His ass is in the sun. Yeah. Like, he air fried himself, man. I'm like, where is this going? That's all. Here's the thing is, I like Eternals too. I mean, both of us, we seem to. I think I liked it more than you did, but we both generally liked it. It's not a great movie, but it's enjoyable. But like, I don't see an upside to this. I see upside in bringing the Eternals into other properties. I see upside in that. I see upside in having the characters. But
how, though?
Well, I'm just saying I see upside in the other characters showing up in other things. That's fine.
The only way they could do that is it has to be a space movie, because remember, they're not on Earth anymore. They're gone.
Yeah. Well, but you get what I'm saying, though. It's them showing up in other things. That would be fine. And also, remember, we're in the multiverse, so the other Eternals from other universes could not have pissed Arishem off. They could still be doing. That's all I'm saying. Don't give them another movie. Like, let's work up to that, doing other things first. But either way, you know what? We'll keep an eye on this. We'll see if Marvel really has it in them to really swing again on Eternals. Like, I don't think that they failed at the first Eternals. I just don't think that. I think it was, rather than hitting a home run, they hit a single, and they're kind of stranded on first base. So they got to figure out how to get them off of first base and get them around to home plate. So We'll check it out. We'll see, if this comes out. Cool. If we'll keep an eye out and see if there's any news about this. Coming up in the future. Lottie, you ready to talk about your absolute favorite subject of all right now? Your favorite thing to talk about, and that's AI. Your a good old buddy, artificial intelligence. The co-founder of Dreamworks, it used to be called Dreamworks SKG, and SKG were stood for the three founders of Dreamworks. So Jeffrey Katzenberg is one of the co-founders of Dreamworks. They make Shrek and among many other things. Probably my favorite thing that Dreamworks has ever made. It's not Shrek. Is How to Train Your Dragon. Actually, it's good probably movie. My favorite. Yeah, that trilogy is probably my favorite thing that Dreamworks has ever made.
The only animated series ever that the sequels were needed. Every other animated series were better off just being one-offs. Every single one of them.
Even Shrek. I will agree with you about Shrek.
But... Shrek 2 was good, but 3 and 4, booty juice.
Yeah. No. So DreamWorks, they make good stuff, good animated stuff, which makes what Jeffrey Katzenberg had to say kind of alarming in my opinion. He says, and I quote, "The AI will cut costs of animation movies by 90% within the next 3 years."
Fuck 'em.
And what he said, when he says that, he means that 90% of the labor involved in creating an animated feature will go away because of AI. So, Lottie, you know what? I'm just gonna step back and let you cook. So go ahead.
Fuck him, man. Fuck him. Man. People like him are why some people don't like smart people, because they, instead of trying to use technology to make lives better, they create technology to make people richer, and make themselves richer. You are an asshole, man. You're an asshole. And here's the thing, that I don't care what anybody says. And I know everyone just wants to be so bullish about AI. Everybody is so bullish about AI. It will never be better than human. AI will never be able to replicate as good as what a human can do. And here's the thing. People want to keep saying, "Oh, it's just going to keep getting better. It's just going to keep getting better." Smartphones have been out for almost 20 years, which is it's crazy. The first smartphone came out in 2007. It's 2027. It's 4 years from now. Smartphones still have the same fucking problems they had back in 2007. They're just a little faster. Technology literally cannot, because you know why? A computer is mentally retarded. It doesn't know what the hell to do except what it's told. So it can never be as good as the human. People keep wanting to say, "Oh, it will eventually be able to replicate what a human can do just as good." No, it will never be able to. It's AI will never be able to draw the Mona Lisa as good as I can't believe I forgot the man's name.
Da Vinci.
It will never happen. They'll be able to get very close, but it will never be able to do an exact replica, because it just is incapable of doing it, because it doesn't have feelings.
Right. Well, my question, I guess maybe we should drill down into this. So, what you're talking about is the origination of art, right?
Yes.
So you're not saying that AI as an originator of art is a non-starter, but I think he's more talking about AI as a kind of a tool to do, some of the things that aren't necessarily artistic. They're just kind of, I guess filling it. Like, for instance, when you are animating the, tweening, the tween frames, If you don't know, tweening is basically you have keyframes, like you have keyframes, and then you have to go from one keyframe to another keyframe. And tweening is making the frames between those two keyframes, right? So if you start at one point A and you end at point B, probably with good training, an AI could probably do those frames between there and get them from point A to point B, probably. And that's the sort of thing he's talking about, because right now, tweeners, that's an actual name. Like, if you don't know animation, a tweener is that's an actual thing you do. It's a person. A keyframe artist is a person that makes the keyframes. A tweener is the person that makes the frames between those two frames, right? It's grunt work essentially, but it's necessary in order to make animation make any sense. And even in 3D animation, you still have people that have to do that, right? And he's probably, he didn't say straight out, he's probably talking about stuff like that. Taking out the labor of that stuff like that doesn't necessarily require a human hand to make something reasonably similar, a reasonably good production. So with that in mind, and I'm sure you as an animator and just generally a technologist, you would admit that there are places within your workflow that an AI probably could be useful. Am I right?
I mean, it's a yes and a no, because the software I have has a AI that honestly, I'm gonna be honest, as painful as it can be, I rather do the keyframes myself, because whenever AI does it, because here's the thing, that's the problem whenever AI does the animation frame, you won't be able to tell until you render the entire animation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is a waste of money. Like, I'm wasting electricity and money rendering the entire animation. You cannot, because when you try to, like, when I go through the wheel and I try to walk, you cannot see it. It's until the animation is rendering at fully 60, like full smooth 60 FPS. Because here's the thing, when you're doing animation, especially 3D animation, you're not editing at 60 FPS. It's impossible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you got like a mega computer. And I have a really high spec computer. I have a 4090 and a 13700K. That is a highly spec computer. It is very hard to edit at 60 FPS. You're usually editing at like 30 FPS or 45 FPS. So there's a lot of frames that you do not see that AI is doing itself. And then once you render it, then you see how broken it is. There's times, man, that I spent literally 10, 15 minutes rendering a scene. And I was like, oh, okay, let me look at it. And it was broken, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's 10, 15 minutes of rendering that was wasted. So I understand what some people are saying, that AI and all that stuff can help. But when you really think about it, what is going to eventually become more expensive?
Yeah. Well,
Hiring somebody?
Yeah, I get that. I think the idea here is that because it's generative AI, at some point it's going to be trained well enough that it doesn't make the mistakes. But even then, well-trained generative AI still fucks up. But
Yeah.
to that point, so do people. Like I know I'm playing devil's advocate here. I generally agree with you. Right now, because this isn't real AI. It's not actual artificial intelligence. That is a name that's been tacked on, when in reality it's just a really good guessing machine. Like, that's not good at actually intelligently understanding what it's doing. So if this were actual real AI, I'm like, well, yeah, I guess they could replace people. But as it is, it needs to be well trained. And even then, you get weird shit anyway. And so, but I also understand that CEOs and whatever are dead set on, like, cutting as many people out of the process as possible. They literally saying, like, let's reduce. He's saying literally that the AI is going to be good enough in a few years that you can cut out 90% of the labor involved in making an animated feature. And I'm like, fuck that noise. I'm like for real. Like on one hand, I don't want people losing their jobs, but on the other hand, are we really? Is that really what we're going to be doing? Is you know, I'm all for getting rid of drudge work, but the problem isn't that you get rid of drudge work, is you then get rid of like these artists, because tween framers are artists. People that are working on these things, they're artists, and you're basically saying your art is less good than just like, let's have some generic ass AI make something that's okay, I guess. It's
Yeah.
You're essentially, they're going to have to train us to lower our standards so that AI art is good enough, essentially. And I'm not okay with that.
And that's where I feel like the customer has to say no.
And here's the thing. I understand that not. Here's the thing that I would agree. Small little indie stuff like that. Yes, I don't mind them using AI because it's generally 1 to maybe 10 people working on a project. That's fine. I'm talking about these multi-billionaire fuckers who have the money to hire people and expect people to spend basically champagne money on a beer product. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. Because I'm sick of this shit. I am sick of these companies. I understand. It is you are in the business of making money. I understand that. I own a business. I run my business to make money too. But I'm not putting fucking the worst quality version of, like, for example, like a product that I sell, Gary. I'm not selling the worst quality, the worst possible quality of Gary and selling it at a premium price, because that's what these fuckers are trying to do. And that's why I'm like, no, if you're going to make AI projects, those tickets better be cheap as fuck. That movie better be cheap. Because if you want us to spend a lot of money on something that you're making 90% less money, it's taking you 90% money to make less money. I'm not spending that 100%. No, I'm going to spend 10% less on that shit.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing that's happening in the video game industry. I'm not spending all this money on a bad product.
Right. Well,
or a lackluster product.
Like I said, the idea is to lower your standards so that AI is good enough. And you got to remember the other thing. You're right. They're trying to make lots of money, a big profit margin, spend as little as possible. And here's the other thing. Computers don't complain about crunch. They never complain. They just keep on doing what they're doing as long as you got the processing power. So if AI can take up the slack of during crunch, they will. That's this. By the way, I'm just noting, like we're saying, this sucks. This shit is inevitable. This is gonna happen. It's absolutely gonna happen, because you got the VFX people unionizing and everything. They're complaining about hours and how much, the working conditions and all this other shit. AI don't complain about anything. It just does what it does. And if they can successfully lower our expectations, lower them so much that the AI, what it does is acceptable. And they're starting to do it. They did it with Secret Invasion. They did it with Loki. You saw the AI generated posters and that AI generated intro for Secret Invasion. They're gonna keep doing that shit. And as they keep on giving it to us, eventually it's gonna wear us down to they're like, this is all right. And the AI is gonna get better. It just is. That's because generative AI, if you keep on training it, it will get better. So there's going to be a kind of a meeting point of our lowered expectations and the AI rising to it, where it'll just be fine and we'll get on with it. And they're not even going to tell us. That's the thing. They won't even tell us about it. They're just going to make the shit. And you're going to be like, cool, here's a new animated thing. You won't know it was involved until you see the credits. And then the credits aren't going to even tell you that shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit is insidious. It's gonna show up, and you won't know. And here's the fucked up thing, Lottie. In the next 10 years, you're gonna watch a movie that you really liked, and it's gonna have a bunch of AI generated shit in it. You won't even know it. I guarantee it. So let's look forward to this bright future, the AI future.
That pains me deep down in my soul.
I'm telling you, I guarantee you, in the next 10 years, you're gonna watch something animated, or even not even, it'll be live action, but the CG is gonna be partly AI generated. You won't know, and you'll be like, "This is fine." Look at all of the shit talking about bad CG that's going on around DC and Marvel movies and many other movies right now, right? About the bad CG. If the AI can generate, CG of that quality, of the so-called bad CG that we're getting, then they will consider it a win, because we're accepting it. Now we're accepting the bad CG now.
Here's the one thing that I will say too that you're just saying. What is that thing called? Ray tracing. They found out that NVIDIA and AMD's AI software, AI auto-correcting software, ray traces better than what's it called? Than native. And I was just like, that is damning. The company who made the game itself cannot implement ray tracing better than an AI. Wow.
Yeah. It's shit is coming. I mean, the thing is, we're not okay with this, but Katzenberg, he's not wrong. He's looking at it and saying this is gonna happen, and I can't say he's wrong. I can't. He's right about this, and it sucks. So anyway, we're gonna keep an eye on this. I think there's no way we can't. In what we are covering on this podcast, we're gonna end up talking about this shit in the future. So look forward to more Lottie rants. That's definitely gonna be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of AI, this is related. Trust me when I say this. The SAG strike finally ends. Hollywood is back in business, baby. They're making movies and making moves, left, right, and center. And people are out to be able. The actors are able to go out and talk about their movies and all that good stuff. Good times, right? And it's because SAG was able to get the producers to come up off of their dumbass AI proposals, or were they? Lottie, I didn't even look. I didn't go through the little contract thing, and again, they when they said the strike was over was the day after we recorded the Supercast last week, and I was like, God damn it, you motherfuckers couldn't get it together. Why couldn't you get it together the day we recorded? But whatever, we've had a week to think about it. And it looks more than likely like this is going to be passed by the members of SAG-AFTRA. They are voting on it as of today, the general membership. And it seems like they maybe beat back the AI proposals and the image capture proposals, at least for a few years, to the next contract negotiation. But I think this shit is fucking alarming. We were just talking about AI. AI is still a problem when it comes to, to actors and to writers and everything like that. The shit is not off the table. Just from what I'm hearing, they seem to have left open. They seem to have left the door cracked open a little bit, and just enough for the AI to get in there and start, really fucking things up. But that being said, Lottie, the strike's over. Everyone's back to work. How are you feeling about
it? You're just like screaming my worst nightmare. Like, I don't like any of this. Like, when I say this, when I say, like, literally in the engineering school, I was not happy with the bullshit that I was seeing about like self-driving cars and all this shit. I'm like, why is this what we're pushing. Like, uh,
First
but
of all, I like self-driving cars, but that's just I think that'd be fine. But this, but see, driving is not an art. It's a mechanical thing you do. You know, it's there's no art. Maybe when you're Formula One racing, maybe
But
there's
here's
some
the thing, I
artistry.
don't care about self-driving cars. Here's the thing. I don't care about citizens. I care about truck drivers. That is what I'm talking about. You're going to destroy so many people's job. And I know a lot of truck drivers personally. And this is their fear. That's why I'm like, fuck that technology. Because
Well,
you're going to
okay,
ruin a lot of
I,
families.
I
Like you
I will
are.
I will agree with that, but also, the automobile ruined a lot of people's livelihoods, and the telephone ruined a lot of people's livelihoods, and so forth and so on. Truck driving, look, it's a necessary thing. It's not going away anytime soon. But it also is very much a job that probably at the very least, you could probably program a car to do, to get to and from a place. That's like cabs. Cab drivers are definitely, if they ever get, self-driving cars to the point where everyone feels 100% safe, cab drivers are dead. They're done. They just are. Uber, who the fuck needs Uber or Lyft or whatever with a person in it when a car can get you to and from somewhere that, by itself? So, like, I'm sympathetic to that, but I also think it's probably a good thing that it happens, because, if they, why, like I said, once they get it to when they get AI to the point where they're way more safe than a person driving a car, I want them to be driving all our fucking cars, because, people are bad drivers. It's just true. We all know this. And people driving 18 wheelers are just people too,
Well,
who
here's the
are
thing.
also bad
Here's the thing.
drivers.
Here's the thing that I will say though too is that I don't think it's not that they say people have gotten worse at driving. No, what has happened is that the the requirement to have a driver's license has lessened each and every year. If you knew how easy the driving test is nowadays, it's no wonder people are dying on the road at an alarming rate. It's bad. Like they like what you had to do to learn how to drive. 90% of that is gone.
Yeah.
Dead serious.
Well, and that's fair. The thing is, I'm sympathetic to what truck drivers and so forth, that their situation. I'm sympathetic, and yet I still feel like AI driving cars will make the world safer. It just will. Again, but it's just a mechanical operation. It requires no artistry to drive a truck. I mean, maybe you could say some bit of it. A lot of it's just, decision making that can be automated. It's just true, and I hate to say that, but it's true. Now, acting, that's another fucking story. Like I need to be shown that a AI can act, right? I got to be shown that an AI can actually write anything original, or even if maybe not original, but maybe not so much original, but definitely not a straight up rip off or knockoff of some other shit they've seen before. Which we already know, people already can do knockoffs of shit like that. So what's so special about an AI doing it? They can do it for cheaper, I suppose. I don't know, but when it comes to the arts, like acting and whatever, I don't believe that, at least as of now, there's any good reason to have AI do it instead of people. And I'm trying not to be biased about this. I'm not trying to shit on people whose jobs can be automated easily by computers, but I've yet to be convinced that acting is one of those things, or writing, or really is one of those things. But as you said, this is your nightmare scenario.
Yes.
um,
Nightmare scenario. We'll
but
see.
to be fair, they seem to have taken a good enough stand to make at least the studios are going to have to regroup and be like, how can we get this in? How can we get this poison pill into the food? Let's figure out another way, and they're going to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. But everyone's back to work now, so that's good, right? Except that thanks to the the strikes, which we approve of and we are supportive of. They happen good because they made good things happen for the workers, but that also means that there's some schedule changes coming up next year. Significantly, next year there's only going to be one Marvel movie coming out, and that's Deadpool 3. Everything Captain America and I think Thunderbolts, they both got moved to 2025. So the phases that Kevin Feige was talking about, a year ago, that shit isn't happening, like at all. The way they're saying, and there's, I think they were talking about, maybe DC's going to be affected, but there's definitely a lot of movies are going to be pushed around as a result. But TV's coming back. They're because they got this sorted out before Thanksgiving. They are. I saw CBS. They're gonna have a short 10 to 13 episode seasons for all of their main shows. I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen across the board elsewhere. So Lottie, they're back. We can say that we're gonna have something to look forward to. That we can start seeing like behind the scenes and everything like that. Hell, I even think Deadpool is gonna start filming again, like right before Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving. So, all good news,
because,
I guess.
Yeah, because at one point I was just telling people, they were like, "Hey man, are you excited to see this movie?" I said, "Man, that movie is not coming out anytime soon. What's the point of even talking about it?"
Yeah. Well, it seems like Deadpool 3, they had a good amount of photography, and I think I saw Ryan Reynolds or somebody talking about like not this was on about Superman, but it's probably the same. Non-union or non-SAG or not in WGA people were still working on the movies. They were still working on the productions. They were just waiting for the writers and the actors to get back. So it's definitely, I think they're full steam ahead on a lot of things that were stopped. However, I did also hear that I heard that Captain America 4 and some other things are getting retooled almost completely. I mean, we heard about Daredevil and how they were sort of scrapping things and going back to the drawing board, but I've heard some similar things about Captain America 4 also. So this last 6 or 7 weeks of the year are going to be really interesting when it comes to the production of comic book things, because I think we're going to hear a lot of information about the strike giving them time to figure things out, or scrapping projects, or just like going back to the beginning and work they've already done sort of getting tossed to the side, especially for Marvel, because they're trying to figure their shit out, trying to figure out how to get back on track. So either way, good to see the actors are back, and I can't wait to hear more news about all of these projects we're really looking forward to. So we'll let you guys know all about them as we get more information. Lottie, I got some sad news for you. So I want you to grab your tissue. Be ready to dab your eyes because you're going to be crying about this. But Taika Waititi said he's not going to be involved with Thor 5. So let me give you a minute so you can recover from this shock to your system. The absolute shock. He was interviewed about this, and this was in a Variety article, and he says like, people, they're working on it. Oh, I don't know anything about that. I'm not involved. I got other things going on. So if I am going to be involved in Thor, it won't be for another 6 years because I've got all these other projects going on. So Lottie, how are you dealing with this loss?
I mean, I kind of saw this coming. I'm not gonna. I kind of saw this coming because wasn't they straight up was basically saying he wasn't gonna do Thor until like there is a massive change, and I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna scrap the director and everything.
Are you talking about
I saw
Hemsworth?
that coming. Yeah, I saw all of. If they're gonna do a Thor 5, I knew they were gonna have to move on from Taika Waititi. Honestly, this doesn't shock me at all. I expected this.
Yeah, I agree. Like we even talk. I feel like we talked about this like after, like a
Yeah,
few weeks after the movie came out, and I was like, yeah, this it's probably his time has passed on this. Um, it's I want to say the audience the audience affinity for Taika Waititi seems to be waning. Like he's got a movie coming out, and it very much I can tell it's very much a Taika Waititi movie. But I wonder if his particular brand of not just humor but like storytelling, maybe it's had its run. You know, maybe it's kind of like Mike Myers. You know, Mike Myers was huge for, you know, the better part. Probably like 7 or 8 years, and then he just kind of like went away because that last couple movies weren't so hot. You know, people didn't really respond to them so much. Maybe it's like that's what's going on with Taika Waititi, which I will say I love Thor Ragnarok. I think everyone is pretty high on that. And I love Jojo Rabbit. I think he's funny. I think he's a good storyteller and everything like that. Thor: Love and Thunder, I like it more than most people do, but it fell off a bit. And I wonder if maybe what's going on with him as far as his Marvel output is just not as much editorial control to sort of dial back some of his excessive I want to call it jokiness, but his a little excessive humor maybe what could have been edited back a little bit. Um, and also apparently he's doing a Star Wars thing, so he's got other things going on. But I'm not surprised by this, and I agree with Hemsworth. I would like to see a I would like to see a change, another reinvention of Thor, to kind of get him into a new space, and to give Hemsworth something more to do. Give him a good reason to come back to the character. So,
I don't want to ever see Dude Bro Thor. Dude Bro Thor is done. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just move on from it. It was good in Ragnarok, but all the stuff that he went through in Infinity War, and then just to regress his character back to Dude Bro again, kind of it rubbed me a little bit of the wrong way, and I just think I Chris Hemsworth was just, I felt like he had, I'm not saying he didn't have fun. He probably had fun filming the movie, but I'm sure he was thinking the same thing as like, I think this is not the way I want to run, like to play the character of Thor again.
right.
So I think they need to. I'm not saying you have to make it super serious, but I think there should be some form of, because I was watching an Instagram reel, and it's true. Like, look what has happened with Loki, and it said Loki has progressed into this great character, and it feels like Thor has almost like, it's like
He
Thor is
he peaked,
almost
he peaked in
he's
high
almost
school.
back to, yeah, it's almost like he's back to square one. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So it's like, if they're going to do that for Thor, you better do that for. I mean, you're going to do that for Loki. You got to do that for Thor too. We
yeah,
need a good increase in Thor's character.
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously they're not done with Thor. Hemsworth, he's winding down some of it. He's not acting as much because of I think we talked about it, about his diagnosis of, not that he has anything, but he could potentially have early onset. Was it not dementia, but what something like that could impact his acting. So he's dialing back his acting a bit. So hopefully Marvel comes up with something good to kind of get him back in the saddle. I think we all love Hemsworth as Thor, and we're really looking forward to seeing him in something else. So, but either way, we'll let you guys know all about any news once we hear it. Lottie, a couple James Gunn things. We got James Gunn. He got onto Threads or Instagram or whatever, and released a little image about Superman Legacy, basically reaffirming that it is still coming out the day it's supposed to. Like, they announced, I think it was, God, what was the release date? Was it 2025? Am I wrong about that? I feel like I'm saying this right. But he was emphasizing that it was going to be said July 11th, 2025. And I think people were wondering, like, well, with the strike, is that just going to push that off to maybe 2026 or something? Nope. He said we're still, we were still moving ahead even while the strikes were going on. So now we're ready to get back to work. And so I'm like, that's dope. Cool. Like, good to hear that. But also today he announced that the writer for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, had delivered the first draft or something, and that he was really excited and said it was a good thing. So he named the writer, which somebody I'd never heard of, and that's cool because there's lots of writers I've never heard of. The writer's name was Anna Nogueira. And she apparently is an actor, but also has, written plays and all that stuff. And so he sounded real bullish about this project. And apparently she had been, paid to write a Supergirl script for the DCEU to spin out of the Flash. And of course that got shelved because, all of that got shelved. But so he announced her and everything like that. Lottie, I'm going to assume you don't know who this person is, Anna Nogueira. But, things are moving forward, in other words. And that James Gunn is like, yes, this is going to be dope. What do you, just based on all of that and your knowledge of the character, and also just hearing about that Superman's still going to come out on time, what's your feeling about these two James Gunn announcements?
It's cool to how he, the little graphic that he released, the very, very nostalgic people are be like, damn,
yeah.
Like, that's badass.
I meant to say something about that, but yeah, that's like certainly an old school. Like, I just gotta say, thank God. Like, this movie may be trash. It very well could be. But on the surface, from the beginning, from where we are standing now, this guy gets it. He just fucking gets it. And I'm like, please translate that into the movie itself. But like his attitude, and he seems to know, like, that he is not just course correcting, he's course changing. Like what they're doing, they're changing the course, period. And they are doing so stylistically into, I hope, a brighter day for the DC universe. So anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted, but you're absolutely right about that graphic.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. They're gonna make things more nostalgic. Like you said, this movie could suck, but it's cool that this exists, and we're going to actually get Superman again. Because, when's the last time we actually seen Superman in his own movie? It's been 10 years. Some people don't want to admit that. People like, it's been a long time, guys. It's about damn time that we get a Superman movie again. And I'm happy that we're going to get one. I'm just excited to see Superman again and see the story of Superman being done again. So I cannot wait for this to come out. And that's it. That's really it. I just can't wait.
Yeah. the super I think the Supergirl one is that was the interesting one to me though. It's like I said, I know you don't know who this person is. I don't know who this person is. But they're definitely moving forward. Like I think I just love the idea of them like saying, "Hey, we're working. Like we're getting it in. We're definitely pushing forward." And there's only been one Supergirl movie like at all. And it's from the 80s and it sucked apparently. There's a Supergirl TV show that I watched one season of and it was cool. But I love kind of the fact that they're all in on the Kryptonians. They're gonna really bring them to the table. And this one, and actually the Woman of Tomorrow storyline is very sci-fi also. So she's not gonna steal Superman's thunder either, right? It's kind of a deal. Like Superman, he's the flagship, but she's not gonna steal his thunder. She's gonna basically. It sounds kind of like she's gonna be sort of doing Captain Marvel-ish things. So, like, I'm really excited to see exactly what they're going to do with it. All that said, hey, they're working, so good to hear. And we're going to let you guys know more about it as we learn more information. So, now it's time to talk about what everyone wants to talk about this week. And that is the Marvels, which I'm the only person on this show that's seen it so far. It's not because Lottie didn't want to. Some things came up. So, Lottie, you work hard, so I know it's hard for you to get free to go watch movies just whenever you want to. So, I am going to be reviewing that for the channel at some point this week. But I guess a spoiler alert. I liked the movie. I thought I had a good time with it. Iman Vellani, she's the best. Miss Marvel is one of the best choices for a character that Marvel's ever made. Like I kid you not. I don't know, Lottie, did I say this to you or did you? I don't know if you saw me post about it or something like that. But I contend, after having seen this movie, it is my opinion that Iman Vellani is the best, is the greatest casting Marvel has ever done. Like every character that you've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, she's the best cast ever. and you might be thinking like, how dare you say that when Robert Downey Jr. exists? And I'm just saying, she's probably the most perfect casting that they've made so far, and she proved it in this movie that you haven't seen. Unfortunately, a lot of people hadn't seen this movie, and let's just call it what it is. I'm sure you've seen it, Lottie. This movie flopped. It just did. We knew it was going to flop, did we not? You and I have been talking about this. We knew it was going to flop, right? So
yeah.
So it did. It proceeded to flop. It's not going to make its money back, probably, right? And
yeah.
The toxic fanboys and the fandom menace, they are just like beating their meat to this news. They're losing they are just having, they're popping bottles because they get to make video after video after video of just like talking shit about how they went broke and they went woke and now they're going broke. That's their. I haven't even watched this shit, but I guarantee you that's the bullshit they're going on about. And there's all these little thumbnails with Brie Larson, crying or angry looking or whatever, and it's every other word is woke, right? I'm gonna assume, Lottie. I'm assuming something like this has passed your vision while you've been on YouTube or whatever. And so I wanted to ask the question, is that really what's happening? Is go woke, go broke actually what's happening here when it comes to the Marvels flopping? And also I sort of want to talk about Nia DaCosta and her take on the fandom menace. Or at least the toxic fans. So, Lottie, again, you haven't seen it, but you've seen all of this talk about it and everything. What's your take on this? Or were you surprised at all by what happened? And have you seen people's genuine reactions to this, their reviews or whatever about what they think about the movie?
I've watched other people's reviews. A lot of people say it's not good. Even the people who are not of the fandom menace, they seem to not like the movie. I saw a thing that there's conflicting reports, but every single one of them says the dominant gender that went to go see this movie is male. And all I'm going to say, the reason why this movie's flopping is because we've talked about it before. Superhero fatigue exists. And Marvel and DC needs to realize that. They have to realize this if they're going to navigate the future of the superhero movie industry. See, and here's the thing, that Marvel is in a bad spot. And I mean this it's out of their control, because I feel like now if it's not Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man, it is going to be very hard for a superhero movie to make $1 billion now.
I'd like to amend that. It's going to be very hard for any of those things that weren't those things you mentioned. Any superhero movie that isn't top tier, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a top tier superhero movie, straight up, without a doubt. It is one of the best superhero movies that's ever been made, and it didn't even get to $900 million.
It's like I said, the only reason why that movie did good is because its fan base went back to watch that movie. That's the only reason. Superhero fatigue exists. Normal people are not watching superhero movies anymore. A movie like the Marvels,
well, they are, but they're not going to the theater for it. That's the thing.
No, they're not gonna. They're not even watching it on. They're not even watching on Disney Plus. I know people that have not seen movies in Phase 4 that were big in Phase 3. It's like, Maurice, it's over. I'm telling you, it is over. Their phase movies, like superhero movies. The only reason Black Panther did what it did because it's Black Panther. That's it. You're not seeing that again, man. I'm being honest with you, man. It's over. And Marvel and DC has to realize this. These massive movie budgets need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to run themselves into the ground if they keep spending this ridiculous amount of money on movies that are not, even if it, here's the thing, like you just said, even if the movie is top tier, if it's not Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man, it is going to have an extremely hard time making $1 billion. And that is the problem with the MCU. It doesn't own any of those characters. It has the X-Men. But here's the thing. People have become so they're so not excited to watch superhero movies anymore that I think it will take until maybe a third X-Men movie for them to come in droves to see it. You know what I mean? It's just, man, it's tough. When I saw that Guardians 3 to make $1 billion, I was like, man, this is a dark time coming ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they literally have to be like, you have to be something that's so good that, that's so good that people can't deny it. You have to be like Barbie or whatever. And Barbie made
$1 billion just because it is.
Yeah, well, it was more as a cultural moment. So was Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer
Same thing with
got near it.
Mario.
Mario, there's just a cultural moment, but it wasn't because people were loyal to the brand or like they were, oh, I really have to see Barbie because of Barbie. They were seeing it because everyone's like, you got to see this movie, and Marvel has lost that thread, and that's just the truth.
Yeah.
And it's fine. You can't be on top forever. That's just the truth. The question is, do you have a solid enough business plan, or in this case, do you have a solid enough plan to just continue along in viability? And Marvel does. They'll be fine. Marvel will be fine. They will, they'll figure out how to they'll make fewer things, make them for cheaper, and then they'll get back on board. What the deal is that, and I had several reasons why this movie isn't doing well, and I contend whoever people saying it's a bad movie, get the fuck out of here. Like, there's same people saying that said Ant-Man and the Wasp was great, which I liked. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think it's a good movie too. This movie is a good movie. What it suffers from is the fact that it does like whatever Marvel movie has, which is a shit, kind of a shitty. Not only could I say shitty, a really underdeveloped bad guy, with whose reasoning is not great, right? Even Thanos, everyone thinks Thanos is so great. Thanos has a fucking dumbass. His reasoning for doing things was stupid, but he was just kind of an imposing force. But the movie itself, that it has a villain problem, and that's more or less it. For the most part, it's a fun ass movie to watch, and it's got a lot of good chemistry between the main characters, and there's some really fun action sequences. There's some funny ass shit in it. It doesn't take itself seriously, too seriously sometimes. So there's some fun, silly things happening in it, and it has a Marvel ending. It's a Marvel movie. Like, through and through, it's got the Marvel DNA. The problem is that that's sort of waned with the audience after Endgame, and that's just one of the many things that's keeping this movie back. Also, Marvel's on a bit of a downward streak. Let's just admit that. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, excellent. Didn't make $900 million. The movie before that, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, $550 million at the most, right? A failure in the eyes of Marvel. The movie before that, Wakanda Forever, should have been $1 billion movie. Didn't crack 900 million, right? And plus all the TV shows that some people aren't watching that aren't that great. Secret Invasion wasn't that great. I could go on and on. Marvel's on a downward slide. It's not a surprise that this movie, at the end of that downward slide, is not going to do as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because it's eroding people's expectations and their need to go see these movies. We know that. We literally have been talking about this all year, right? It's that I even said, like, this is the year of the movies that are good that nobody goes to see. We've had literally good movies, and some great, but actually we're in the era of mid, where people say something's mid meaning it's good but not great, and that's just not good enough. And I'm like, this is where I feel like I'm as I say from Zoolander, I feel like Mugatu. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because I saw a good movie and I don't understand why people are shitting on. Like, people are saying it's mid as if that's a bad thing. Like, whatever happened to just watching something that entertains you? It doesn't have to be. We don't have to live in this binary world where it's the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. It could be somewhere in between there, and we don't. But that's not the way it works. At least not in online discourse. Another thing, Disney Plus fucked this movie. I'm telling you, Disney Plus has fucked the last 5 movies in the MCU. It's because people are saying, this shit's going to be on Disney Plus in 3 months. Why am I going out to see this?
Yeah.
Between that and reviews that, if the reviews aren't saying, this is the best thing ever, you have to go see it, they're not gonna go see it. They'll just wait for Disney Plus. Disney Plus has fucked the MCU so hard since the pandemic started. Since Chapek and everything like that, it has fucked every theatrical release. If Disney Plus didn't exist, I think Guardians 3 would be a $1 billion movie, and I think Wakanda Forever would have been too. So there's that. You got Disney Plus. Oh, here's another thing. You mentioned superhero fatigue. Hell yeah. We have in the last 2 years, the number of good to great movie. And by the way, again, we watched them all. I've watched basically every mainstream superhero movie in the last 2 years. I don't think I disliked any one of them. I think some of them were just whatever, like Morbius. But I don't think I disliked anyone in particular. I think they were mostly good. But when you get mixed bag results like that, yes, superhero fatigue was going to set in. But it's not really superhero fatigue. It's just mediocrity fatigue. Let's call it like it is. Morbius was mediocre. I still liked it, but it was mediocre, right? Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm saying Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I don't think it's mediocre, but in the eyes of other people, it wasn't on the level that people have an expectation for Marvel, and it's higher than what they've been getting. They've still been getting good things, but their expectations up here, that what they're getting is lower, and it's not necessarily bad, and it doesn't give them a reason to run out to the theater to go see anything.
And this is why I kind of felt they should have took a little bit of a break after Endgame, because here's the thing. I don't think it's because there's been mid movies coming out, because I was just having this debate with my coworker, because he was telling me about how great phase 1, 2, and 3 were. And I said, "Are you sure about that?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, every movie was great." I said, "No, they were not, man."
Fuck no.
I said, "What do you mean?" I said, Incredible Hulk was not that great. It was an all right movie. Iron Man 2 was bad. Iron Man 2 was not a good movie. Iron Man 2 was bad. Thor 2 was a snore fest. Like, I could go down the list. You know why you think you know why you think phase 1 and 2 were so amazing? Is because they had some of the greatest superhero movies of all time sandwiched in between them. What's it called? Phase 1 ended in a fucking massive nerd explosion in Avengers.
Yeah.
Then phase 2 started, not too much with a bang, but the next movie in it was Captain America 2. Fucking explosion. And then phase 3 there were some not great movies in phase 3, but the way that motherfucker ended, it was haymaker after haymaker. Yeah. So it was like you had Captain America 3, Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame. I mean, you had
Ant-Man in there. Well, the thing is that it was a slow ramping up to that. Now we have and this is another thing I want to say. There's just a shit ton of Marvel stuff right now, and the quality control isn't great. It's some of it's on, some of it is top tier, some of it's fine. Some of it, like Secret Invasion, is the first Marvel thing I've seen in a long time where I'm like, this isn't good, right? But for the most part, it's just like I said, people expectations is one place, and Endgame did this. Endgame and Infinity War really set the bar so fucking high, and the immediate things right after that, like you said, like they should have waited a while. The things that came immediately after that couldn't match up to that. It just couldn't. And so we're in a rebuilding year. The Bulls just won the championship. We're in a rebuilding year, and people are like, "Why don't you win another championship?" Because motherfuckers, we gotta start over. Y'all get that? You can't ride high forever. That's just not possible. And so you got these expectations. You got Disney Plus that's making people think I can wait for it. You got quality control going down because of how much they have to put out. You know, you have this expectation which is ridiculously out of line with normality, right? And you also have people being like, why? Everything's connected. Where's the connections? Where's the connection? And you can't just have an MCU story that's just by itself. This movie is a good representation of that. It sets up other things as expected for MCU things, right? It tells its own story, but it sets up some other things. And everyone's like, why, what do I need to watch? Why, it's too much or whatever. And they just can't tell standalone stories. And so wokeness has fuck all to do. I'm going to tell you straight up. If the only thing, quote, woke about this movie is that the main characters are women. And two of them are brown women. That's it. That's literally it. There's no men.
Yeah, I heard
there's no men rule and women rule, men rule bullshit. There's none of that. They're just out there. They are brought together for circumstances that make sense. They've got to go deal with the problem, and the fact that there's no guy on the ship with them is incidental. So there's no the wokeness. The only reason why anyone would say is woke is because they're misogynist bullshit, peddlers. That's it. If you say I see brown people and women, at the forefront of a movie, therefore this is woke, then yeah, sure. By that dumbass definition, it's woke, I guess.
I think people really just need to just not. I mean this by even people in Marvel, the directors and all that stuff. Just don't get so upset about stuff like this, man. There's really no reason to, because don't matter what you do, there's going to be a part of the internet that thinks a game is woke. You could find it funny, but don't get so upset about it or anything like that, because like I've heard even from like people that are considered, some people will say they are of the fandom and say, yeah, there's nothing in this movie that will say this movie is woke.
Yeah.
Like they're all saying that. So it's like there are just some people that are just like you said. There are some people that there is a group of people in, as the world population gets bigger and more people start getting on the internet, there is there's millions of people out there that are just terminally online.
I thought you were gonna say terminally stupid.
Well, just terminally online, and they just want people to feel the same misery as them.
Yeah.
So they're going to just find like man, I put up animations. I told you I had a guy that literally commented on every single one of my videos, telling me how bad my animations are, and I'm just like, thank you for the views, man. Like, okay. And it's happened. I have more. Every time I upload a animation, there's at least 3 or 4 people that will comment under my video saying how bad my animations are, or how cringy it is, or how I should delete this. And it's just like, I don't like. At first, it bothered me at first, but then I thought about it. These people don't even. They don't even have the talent to create a character using 3, even with the software. So I'm like, don't even, just let them say whatever they want. I don't care.
Well,
Thank you for the view.
I saw Nia DaCosta was talking about that. Like I said, we had talked about that maybe she was being set up as a fall guy. I think maybe not so much anymore. Now I see some of it now that they're finally kind of talking about it. But she was just like, yeah, there's that side of fandom, and it's, they're full of basically bigotry and whatever. That just want to like tear you down, but like I'm not. She's like, I'm gonna be more gravitating toward the lighter side of where people are just like appreciating a thing, and I'm like, that's smart. I think the thing is, you have to be that way when you're in Hollywood, because you're gonna have a ton of haters, and or you have a ton of detractors. Like, just maybe they just don't like the shit you do. It's fine. Look, if some of these people don't like this movie, I can see where they're coming from. I don't agree. I think that the movie, at worst, it's just fine. It's average. At the worst, it's average. But I think it does some things, and some really good things. And as I said before, Miss Marvel's the best thing that's in the whole movie. She's literally like the absolute best thing that's in the movie. But that being said, if you don't like, hey, it's not your cup of tea, that's all good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But the Fandom Menace, they make hay out of just being stoking people's shittier sides. And that part, I'm like, fuck off, man. Like, I guess that's why I'm glad my timeline and shit is well scoured of that bullshit. But they exist, and they're crowing. They're so happy that Brie Larson gets handed a loss, and I'm like, yeah, but did she though? I mean, yeah, it sucks that this isn't doing that well. But do you think Kevin Feige didn't know this shit was gonna land like this? Like, I'm serious, Lottie. Do you think that Kevin Feige and all of the executives at Marvel and at Disney didn't see this coming?
Kevin Feige did. I fully believe that people in Disney thought this movie would make money.
Well, yeah, they did when they greenlit it, sure. But like, they greenlit this thing like 3 years ago. This movie this movie was greenlit like right after Endgame, basically. So yeah, 3 years ago it sounded good, but in those 3 years, shit has changed. So I don't think anyone at Marvel or at Disney thought that this movie was going to make big money. And then the actor strike came, and no one could anticipate that. That's one thing. And I forgot to mention it. The strike happened. So for the last 4 months, there's been no marketing except trailers and TV ads. That's it. There hasn't been, not one actor has talked about it until days before it comes out. The strike stops days before it comes out. Like probably the day or two before. Now they can go talk about it. It's too fucking late now. There are so many reasons why this movie didn't do well, and none of them were wokeness. Wokeness is it of the top 10 things that hampered this movie. Woke is number 1073. That's of the top 10. So like, shit's crazy. But whatever. You guys take your victory lap for doing fuck all, I guess. Like, people who are actually spending their time making shit and putting shit out there, they're going to take their lumps. But, it's real easy, and I'm including us, to sit here on the sidelines and be like, you should have taken that 3. You should have taken it. You should have gone for 2 points instead of kicking the field goal. We can, we can sit on the sideline and say that we are not in the game. So, anyway, go see the Marvels. I think it's good. I think it's in some ways it's really good. The post-credit scenes are pretty great. So, yeah, and also Iman Vellani, she's a treasure to the MCU. They need to protect her at all costs and put her in fucking everything. I guarantee you it'll make it better. So, anyway, we'll talk about more about the Marvels, I'm sure, in the coming weeks as we dissect this failure of the MCU and see how they're going forward. So, anyway, Lottie, that's all of our news for this week. But hey, you guys, maybe we missed something. Maybe you disagreed, agreed. You just had a comment or complaint, whatever it is. You know what to do. Get down to the comment section. Leave your thoughts there. And, of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. Super Not Funny Show on Threads, on Instagram, on TikTok. Do not look me up on X. Just don't. I don't look at X anymore, or Twitter, whatever the fuck it is. So I'm nearly about to delete that. So Threads is the place to be if you want to contact us. You do that, and of course, while you're doing that, go down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the content on this channel, and we do appreciate that. And also, if you're on a podcasting platform and you're listening to us, just leave a review. That'd be cool. And of course, I can't do this by myself. I need my good friend Lottie to, let us know what he thinks about all of, AI and comic books, all that good stuff. So, Lottie, where can they reach you on social media?
You can always find me on my Instagram and YouTube, which is Anukinihun. Again, it's Anukinihun, Anukinihun. Again, it's Anukinihun. And whenever you come over, just leave a like, a comment, a subscription.
Yeah, you guys definitely show Lottie some love and check out all of his content. All right, well, this has been episode 127, not 126, 127 of the Supercast. Can't believe it. We're heading into the holidays. Got Thanksgiving's coming up, but we also got Invincible and other things like that we're reviewing. Get down there, check those things out. And next week, we're going to be covering all of the news in superhero, movies, TV shows, and video games. Until then, I've been Mo, your commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.